No
Brian,
pressure, Dan. No pressure.
Dan's very nervous. You're a big deal to him.
Don't
So
be nervous.
we'll just
All right, welcome back to 100% or Nothing Motivation Podcast, episode 4398. We have some of the usual gang and no other than Brian Dobson. If you don't know him, you shouldn't be breathing. It's just that simple.
just that simple.
Welcome and thank you for giving up some of your afternoon for us.
Oh man, I'm pleasure to be here, man. It's very hot down here in Texas. We're right at 100 degrees today, and just got done training and pounded down a protein drink. I'm ready to go.
Yes. Brian, it's hot here today, but not that hot, and it feels too much.
Oh yeah, it gets brutal here.
Yeah, how do you manage it? Is it just a case of
you get used to it? You know, last year was very hot. I would say it was probably the hottest I remember here in the 37 years I've been here. But I think we had 27 days in a row over 100. And, you know, it'll take a toll on you. You know, like driving home from here at night, after you've been 12, 13 hours here, there's been many times I pull into my driveway. I'm like, I don't even remember driving home.
Yeah.
It's like, how did I get here? You know, because it's just, it's brutal. But the training part, it's never really bothered me. I don't mind training in the heat, you know, especially if I got a fan, if I just a breeze, anything, you know, makes it okay for me. But
Can I just say something? Because I feel like, honestly, unless you've trained at MetroFlex, you won't realize how good the pumps are in that kind of temperature.
oh yeah,
I feel like you put on, it's like you said to me, you look 15 pounds heavier just training in there.
Yeah.
I love it. I think the heat is such a positive thing for
it
your
is.
pump. Yeah,
It is, you know, I mean, especially my old ass, you know, I mean, I'm 67, man. It takes me a while to warm up.
Yeah,
And
them joints get
with that, I get warm a lot very immediately, you know, and it's you know, it's manageable. You know, the hardest part for me is when I got to like work on the show. Like right now, we're a week up from the branch, which I hate to hear you're not coming. Damn it,
bro.
yeah. I mean, you're the one I was excited to see.
Yeah, we'll have a little talk about that probably during this, and then I can explain some.
But you know, when you got to sit in this room here and just get fried answering 100 emails, that takes more of a toll on me than the training. It really does.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Just leave that to Steve and Brian. Leave that to your PA. You can sort that out.
Yeah.
So Brian,
Young,
firstly, thank you very much for coming on. I know you're a busy guy, etc. You know, you're doing the show and everything, and the gym and everything. And I know Dan was kind of joking, but he wasn't when he said, if you don't know who Brian Dobson is, then please get off our channel. But however, we spoke about this yesterday, didn't we? Or was it today, James, or yesterday? That I don't think I've ever seen you on a podcast, Brian, or you're not really out there online much other than a bit of YouTube here and there. And I know you do a little bit of Instagram now and again. So do you want to tell some of our kind of newer, kind of younger guys some of your background, a little bit about yourself, etc.?
Okay.
Because obviously all those guys know who you are. It's,
well, that's Brian.
Well, I mean, like really with me, I mean, I started lifting weights as a young man because of wrestling. I wanted to get bigger and stronger. I had a friend, he had some weights in his garage. It was very different back in my day. Coaches didn't want you lifting weights. Even my wrestling coach, even my football coach, baseball especially. You know, and I always wanted to be a major league ball player. That was my best thing. I worked out very hard at it. I still play baseball to this day. I'll be playing tomorrow in the 100-degree heat with a bunch of other old guys like me. But we had a huge school and we didn't even have a weight room. You know, so if you wanted to train, you had to do it on your own, which was, you know, now it's the exact opposite. I mean, the high schools around here, they have like Dallas Cowboy training centers for these kids, man. I mean, like Destination Dallas has nothing on these gyms, man. I mean, they're $1 million facilities that they have now in these high schools. In my day, it wasn't that way. You had to work out on your own. And as a young man, I met Tom Platz. I saw him working in a fitness center, I guess you would call it. Back in those days, they were co-ed. They weren't co-ed. You had ladies' day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, men Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and they closed on Sunday. And I'd walk by this place on my way to work, and I'd see him in there, and I'm finally go, man, I want to talk to this guy because that's what I want to be. I want to look like that, you know. I mean, he was, you know, amazing looking, of course. And when I went in there, he's like, man, you don't want to join here. He goes, you can probably already lift the max amount of weights there. Their heaviest dumbbells were 50 pounds. They had a Smith machine with a stack on it, believe it or not. It had a selectorized stack, which was kind of cool, but it only went up to 200 pounds. So I could already bench that for, 15 times or something, even though I was a teenager. And so he told me, man, he gave me a program to follow. I built my own gym in my basement. And, basically just a bench press, a chin-up rack, didn't have a squat rack back then. My friends would put bars, we'd put them on each other's shoulders and we'd squat. We just did whatever we had to do to make it work, and, we got strong. I mean, we did well. We followed this program and, I was bench pressing like three times a week, heavy sets of 5 to 6 reps, lots of sets, but it worked. When you're young like that, man, just about everything works, and, I got strong and eventually my baseball coaches gave me an ultimatum. Like, I'm either going to do this bodybuilding crap or you can play ball. And I'm like, I'm looking at Tom Platz, amazing, going to Mr. America, driving a Corvette, got beautiful chicks everywhere. And I'm looking at my baseball coaches, old as fuck, tobacco drill stains down the side of their face, no women. I'm like, man, I'm going with this guy, man. And, I always wondered if I would have made it, but I think I probably made the right choice. And as time went on, I just, I got around some of the greatest powerlifters of all time. I mean, some of the best ever. And so I took advantage of that. And I said, well, I'm going to learn how to be a powerlifter too, man, because this is amazing. The strength of these guys. I remember, it's kind of a weird story. I was in the shower at one of these gyms I used to train at. And a guy named Doug Patterson came in. He was a world champion. I think he was like a 275er. It was him and his brother, Clay. Clay and Doug, they were both world famous back then. And I'm kind of staring at his back. I'd never seen, like thick spinal erectors like that. We're both naked in the shower, man. And he's like, what are you staring at, boy? I'm like, man, I ain't gay or nothing, man. I want to get my back like that, man. I go, that's freaking amazing. And he's like, quit doing all that pussy bodybuilding shit and start deadlifting, man. And I'm like, you show me how? And I'd already deadlifted 500, not even know what the hell I was doing. But, he helped me. And, I went on to set world records in the deadlift, and the deadlift was something I always loved to do. And being around those folks, it was a great time for me. And, I always wanted a gym. I worked in nightclubs at the time. I mean, I ran the clubs. I wasn't, oh, you're a bouncer? I'm like, no, I'm no damn bouncer, man. Bouncers make minimum wage, man. I was making big money. And, the club scene here is huge. And, I got in with these people. We had like 9 different clubs. They let me work wherever I wanted to work. As far as like every club had certain nights where they were busier, and they would let me go to wherever I wanted. I bartended and I made a killing, but I also helped them with all the accounting at the end of the night. And of course, if fights broke out, I had to get involved in that too, which was always fun back in those days. Yeah. And anyway, all that time in my mind, in the back of my mind, I want to open up a gym. I want to open up a gym because the real gyms were starting to fade away. This is when the corporate gyms started coming on back in the 80s. And, the gym I was training at started going really soft. They were getting mad because we were using chalk, to squat. They took the squat rack out of the gym. I'm like, what the hell? And, so I had to find another place because, I'm not going to quit squatting. But I started looking and I started buying equipment. I would go to auctions. I would go to garage sales. And back in those days, Joe Weider would sell this weight set. It was I believe it was like 311 pounds. It was a kilo set, which, we don't do kilos here. So it was very weird to have 44, a 33, a 22, 11, and whatever the 5.5 pound equivalent is. But people would buy these for like gifts and Christmas presents. And of course, what happens in the home gym, it becomes a clothes rack for people. There's, nobody lasts long training at home. And so I had a ton of those that I bought, man. I had all these chrome bars that sucked. I had all these 44s and such. And I actually found one of these 44s in the gym the other day. I thought they were all gone. And there's one that survived, been here like almost 40 years, But anyway, that's kind of how it started, man. I started buying stuff, and I actually called. This gym was actually open, and there was a company called Mac Barbell. They made the Texas Power Bar. They also made equipment. You know, back then, equipment manufacturers were kind of rare. It wasn't like today where there's literally thousands of them. And, you know, and of course, it was very basic equipment, like a lat pull down. The leg presses back then had rubber wheels, which were horrible. So as soon as you got about 800-900 on them, the wheels would go flat or partially flat on one side or break. But anyway, I called this. Back then I used to use a phone. I called up here and asked for hey, I wanted to buy some Texas Power Bars. And the guy's like, this is a gym. And when I called information, they gave me he had named it Mac Gym after Mac Barbell because that's the equipment they had here. Well, the Mac Barbell folks, were not open obviously, but anyway, he's like, well, what do you want those for? I said, well, I want to get my own gym and I'm going to have quality bars. I don't want these shitty chrome bars, they're going to bend with 500 on them when you're deadlifting. And he's like, well, this one's for sale. I'm like, oh, really? So I came straight here. I lived about 35 miles from here. Came up here. This guy didn't work out. He didn't do anything. I don't even know why he had this place. And they had very few people here. They had all this brand new Mac equipment. And then he wanted to, more money than I could even think of. I said, well, man, I appreciate it, but I said, I can't afford that, man. So shook his hand, but wish him the best. And the next day he calls me, he goes, well, how much can you get? I said, I don't know. I'll see if I can get a loan and get some collateral on my wife's car. She just got a new Chevy Celebrity. And the bank gave me $2,500 on that. And anyway, he took it. So I got it very cheap. And that's how it started. And I started bringing pieces in. I lucked out really because there was an auction I got very shortly after that. And when I went to the auction, there was only 3 other people there. And this was a whole gym. I mean, they had everything. And I go, what are you looking for? And the guy's like, man, I want to buy that ladder. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, that's good. I go, what do you want? And he goes, man, I want one of those showcases. I said, I'm telling you what, don't say a damn word while they do this auction. And I'm going to buy all this shit. And then I will give y'all the fucking ladder and the fucking showcases. So that's basically what happened. They thought they were going to get like, 50 grand for all this stuff. I think I ended up giving them like 5 grand for everything.
Beautiful.
And literally that day they delivered it here in 2 semi trucks. And I mean, to say the people here were happy was an understatement because they had a very basic gym before with very little equipment. And now we had everything. And that's how it all started. And then
I love it.
As time went on, I kind of realized, powerlifting, it's great. I had a powerlifting team and we won all kind of stuff that we went to that first year. I think we won every meet we went to. But, people still, when people would talk to me, I remember, how do you get abs? I always had abs. How do you get abs? I said, well, you got to diet. Most people, I'm just lucky I have them, But I realized I needed to get back into bodybuilding. And so I started training for bodybuilding. And the first show I did was called the Texas Grand Prix. And this is before the NPC was big here in America. The AAU was big back then. And they're the ones who did all the Mr. contests, Mr. Texas, Mr. America, Mr. Universe, all that kind of stuff. And they, anyway, this was called the Texas Grand Prix. You got a ring if you won and all this stuff. Anyway, man, I won the whole damn thing. I won the overall. And that's what kind of got us started on the map. Guys that were in that show, I'm like, where do y'all train? Oh, we train at President's. We hate it. I said, man, come to my gym. I won't even charge you.
Yeah.
So just from that one show, I got about 20 bodybuilders to come here. And that really helped the atmosphere. It really helped the, the name because, we all competed. And so, and back then when you competed, they announced where you were from.
Yeah.
I remember one show that when Branch came to the show, he was a teenager. I put him in the teen, I put him in the novice men, and I put him in the open. And he won all of them. He even won the overall open class at I think he was 18. And of course, he had those wheels, man, which you couldn't beat them. They were insane. And anyway, Branch was a big plus for me, having him here. But all that stuff, as I started winning some shows, a policeman came in here one day, and this is the guy that I used to train with years ago. He was a very strong bencher. And he started telling me about this rookie cop. He was like, this dude is a freak. He goes, I've never seen veins like this. His arm's got to be as big as Arnold's. Blah, 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 blah. I go, well, does he know what he's doing? He goes, man, he don't even know what the hell he's doing. He's down there. He does like bench every day. And I'm like, what? And then he's like, yeah. And I said, well, man, bring him down here. I go, I need a training partner. And tell him I'll give him a free membership if he trains with me. And of course, that was Ronnie. And and here come Ronnie walking in the next day with this guy, and I'm like, what the fuck? Oh yeah. I measured his arms the first day; they were over 20 inches, and he didn't even train arms. He didn't even train them. That's just what he got from doing bench and deadlift, I guess, man.
Wow.
Because he did the basic lifts. He did powerlifting, and he played football at a very high level. Ronnie would have played in the NFL, but he got hurt. And in the NFL, man, if you get injured, they don't take a chance on you like that. And he got a back injury his senior year, but his back was still good for many, many years. I mean, this dude that back was made out of iron. My God. I mean, the first deadlift contest I took him to, he pulled 725, I think, or something like that. I remember the first workout we used to have this, it was called the Texas Deadlift Classic. And this gentleman used to put it on every year. And he gave us these badass friggin' trophies. They're actually a replica made of, ceramic or something, of a giant rattlesnake. And it had a bar in its mouth, like, and, with plates on it. It just looked awesome, man. I mean, it's the baddest trophy ever made, man.
Yeah.
And I've never been able to find them, because I would love to give them out at our shows. But we've never been able to find them ever since. And anyways, but we'd go every year. And that first year I took Ronnie, I was like, I said, how much do you think you can deadlift? He said, well, I think the most I've done is like 6 wheels on each side. I said, okay, well, that'll probably win. I said, but let's see what you can do. And we had about 6 weeks to train. I swear every week he went up like 50 pounds. I'm like, God dang, man. And, anyway, he pulled 725 that first time. And,
crazy.
And of course, later in life, he would do reps with that later.
How old was he at the time, and how was you?
I think he was 26.
Yeah.
And how old what?
And then when you did your competition, your first one as a bodybuilder,
I did my first competition at 17.
Oh.
I mean, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I didn't shave. I had hair down past my shoulders. Of course, most everybody did back in them days. This is like 1974 or 5, maybe.
Yeah.
And I got 3rd place, but I was just a baby, man. I mean, I'm going up against 19-year-olds, so they kicked my ass. But I mean, I got 3rd, so I had a little bit.
Dude,
but I remember that contest. It was in a basketball court at the downtown YMCA with a light bulb hanging off of the net for our posing light, and a little piece of tape to stand on underneath the light. And I remember Tom Platts telling me, he said, when you get under that light, look down and make sure you have like a shadow, like right here on your chest, that you can see your abs. And so I remember getting out there and I'm, okay, I'm good, man. Everything. Anyway, it was that's what started my journey bodybuilding.
That's just the perfect entrance to bodybuilding. When you just want to see and hear about an honest, humble story, because I won't go too into it, but today that's not the case. Whereas the purity to that whole procedure, I love that. Like the simplicity of going up to this competition, literally manufactured stage.
Absolutely.
Just working with the basics and starting at the beginning and just having the right entrance.
I trained in my basement. I'd make weights out of cement. I'd take hat boxes and pour cement in them and put a little PVC pipe in the middle. And I did all kind of crazy shit to create weights, man. And we put gravel in buckets and do side laterals with them. Ooh, we did whatever it took, whatever we could do, man. But
I love
those were fun times for sure. Definitely were, man. And of course, with Tom, the thing with Tom is the intensity that he would bring. I only really got to actually work out with him a few times as a teenager. but he was so intense. I mean, this gym where I worked out at, there was a bunch of hardcore, big, rough, mean motherfuckers there.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like mafia people, professional bouncers and topless bars. And I mean, everybody there was tough. And when he came in, everybody quit talking about pussy. They quit fucking around about everything. And it was business. I don't care if he was fucking doing triceps. That dude was intense, man. But on leg day, oh my God. You know, I mean, even to this day, I have never seen anybody that can squat like him. I mean, including Ronnie or Branch. I mean, this guy, he would put his heels touching. And he'd wear these Olympic weightlifting shoes. He would not wrap, nothing. Of course, back then, all they had was ace bandages for wraps. His little, you know, thin, one of them little thin leather belts, you know, thin in the front, maybe about like that in the back. And that was it. And he would, the best I ever seen him do was 425, 28 times. And I'm talking as low as a human being could go. I mean, his butt was like on the back of his Achilles tendon, you know.
Mate,
I mean,
we say here,
I can't do that with no weight. No,
testicles to your heels. Literally.
Exactly.
Yeah, literally.
And then he would collapse. I mean, he would literally go to failure. And they had a special rack there where he could just dump it, and then he just boom, he'd lay on the floor 3-4 minutes, and he'd get up and he would do it again. And that was the whole workout. And he did that twice a week. I remember back in those days, man. I mean, he didn't do leg press, hack squats, lunges, nothing like that, man. I mean, lunges didn't even exist back then. I think I invented the walking lunge here at MetroFlex, man. I really do. No one did that before us. No one. And
yeah, I don't remember seeing anybody doing walking lunges until I saw Ronnie on his DVD. So
the way walking lunges started, the gym had been open a while. You know, I mean, y'all seen all the animals I got in this gym. I mean, that's all stuff I hunt. Well, I was going on a bear hunt, and we were going up into a very rough mountain. And you can't take horses up there. There's no roads. And I'm like, if I get a bear, you know, I'm gonna have to friggin' hump the sunbuck out on my back. I need to get in a little better shape. You know, of course, I was in great shape then. You know, I was in my 30s. You know, I was bulletproof back then. And somehow, well, back in the day, magazine people used to send magazines to the gyms because people would read them while they're doing cardio. Of course, there's no magazines anymore. Everything's online. But back then, we had a whole stack of magazines every month, from Muscle and Fitness to Muscular Development to Shape Magazine. And I was looking in Shape Magazine, of all things, and they had a lady doing stationary lunges with dumbbells. And I'm like, man, I bet you could make something with that if you put a bar on your back. And I just thought that was going to give me the cardio, the endurance of everything to go on this bear hunt and dominate. And I took a bar with one wheel on it, you know, 135, out into the parking lot. I'd already worked out that day. And I just threw it on my back, and I did lunges to that street that you pull in off here, Cooper Street, which is about 100 yards. So I went there and back, and I was definitely sucking air. And it was definitely, I definitely felt it. But I did 2 more sets. Well, then the next day, I mean, the only soreness I could even compare that to was my first squat workout with Tom Platz, you know, where I was fucked up for like 10 days or something, you know. And this thing, it got me, man. I mean, it was, my butt was so sore, my quads were sore, I felt it in my hamstrings. And after that, I mean, we included it every workout pretty much for years. And of course, you know, with Ronnie and I, you know, Ronnie's so competitive, you know, he don't like get beat at nothing. And back then, you know, I trained with him. And I remember one day I said, man, I'm going to get his ass on this today, man. And so I took the squat racks out there. We loaded it up on I got some station, you know, squat, you know, movable squat racks.
Yeah.
And we get out there, and I put 315 on it after the initial 135. And he's like, what the fuck, man? I said, yeah, I'm going to do this shit today, man. And I did it. I made it, but we didn't go to Cooper Street. We went from like the front of the gym back to the right where that creek is, and back probably maybe a total of 50 yards. But I did it. And of course, then, you know, then we put it on Ronnie, and of course he did it. Then we went to 365, and I only made it down there. And when I turned around and come back, I freaking I lost it. I mean, as far as I didn't get hurt. And then he did it, and he made it back, so he beat me. But we never went that heavy ever again. And then really most of his 8 Olympia titles on the walking lunge side of things, he usually went about 185. He didn't go, do that heavy ass weight. But
Yeah.
I mean, 185 for 100 yards, it'll test you, man.
And later in the workout as well, when you've already smashed
exactly
yourself
after you've done all the heavy stuff, man. So
yeah, it's funny because listen, like it makes sense. That exercise had to come from somewhere, and you think how bodybuilding's not that old, really.
No,
like in regards to exercises. So that's a great story to hear because. Yeah, I haven't seen people predating that doing walking lunges, and the boys said the same. Like it was literally the mock videos where I first saw a walking lunge. So yeah, it's Arlington born and bred.
I think so. I really think it. I mean, I believe people did lunges, but only women did it. Nobody realized this. It's a tough exercise, man. It's not just for girls, man.
No, for sure.
The hardcore thing is the walking lunge wasn't created for weight training purposes. It was to carry a bear. That's the cool thing about it. It wasn't to develop quads, Brian. It was so you could carry a bear after you killed it. That's awesome. Sorry.
Wait, say it again.
So you created the walking lunge to carry a bear. It wasn't
the
really
bear. Preparation for the bear hunt.
Yeah, and that hunt I didn't get a bear either. Damn it.
Oh shit.
I've killed several. I've killed some big ones since then, though.
I got a question for Brian, if I may. Is that all right if I come in here?
Of course, yes.
Just a very simple one. Obviously, we've seen Ronnie training, and it was very much hits everything twice a week. What was your philosophy to training? Was that something
back then we did it. Back then, I did it right along with it, man. We did everything twice a week. I mean, now, of course, I'm a lot older, and kind of like when Dorian's came on board and became, kind of brought a little bit of science to this game, and it makes sense, and you need to rest to grow, and I think I probably held back some of my gains over the years just because I trained so much, like too much. Like, I mean, I trained with Ronnie, then I might train with one of my clients later in the afternoon, or, I did a lot of split training back in the day, like hams in the morning, quads at night, stuff like that. And now I am more than content going one day a week on everything. So basically with me now, I train Monday through Friday. We do legs on Monday, quads and hams. I mean, and then I do chest on Tuesday. I do arms on Wednesday, do back on Thursday, and then today we did shoulders.
Yeah. And
for me, I mean, it works. I have so many damn injuries now. It's we take the rest of the podcast talking about them, but I literally have to work around things, and just do the best I can. And that's one thing great about bodybuilding. Even if you're hurt, you can typically find something where you can still work that muscle. I mean, you just got to be innovative. You can't just give up because it hurts, man. I mean, honestly, today you got that Viking press. I hadn't done that in probably 20 years. And I'm training with Jordan Jankowicz today. He's one of our 212 guys.
Yeah, he's big lad.
Looking great, man. I mean, he looks
awesome.
He looks good. Looks really good. And he'll be competing. He's got about, I think, 9 more weeks. But this dude compressed the 160s for like 15 reps on the dumbbells. And he had a guy filming him today. I said, God dang, you're gonna make me do dumbbell presses with you. I said, man, I don't want to get filmed doing dumbbell presses. I'm gonna use like 60s if I'm lucky. And I said, man, can we do something else? And he's like, let's do the Viking press. I'm like, oh, fuck, that might be even worse, man. But I did all right. I got up to 200 on that motherfucker somehow. And hopefully I'll still be able to play baseball tomorrow because I already kind of feel it in here a little bit. But, that's part of it, man. I mean, I think to be really a good bodybuilder, I mean, you got to be tough, man. I mean, and you got to be able to push yourself, and you got to sometimes take a little bit of a chance sometimes, And when I look at some of these modern guys and I watch their videos, man, I usually fall asleep.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's boring. I mean, this guy's got 21 or 2-inch arms and he's curling a 30-pound dumbbell for 10. I'm like,
it shouldn't make sense. It shouldn't make sense.
Maybe I'm doing this wrong. But I think they're just tremendously gifted athletes and they're on a ton of shit to help accomplish those goals.
But how can anybody find that fun to do?
I don't
The whole
know.
point of training, it's got to be fun, and fun is lifting
Exactly.
heavy. Heavy shit.
Like when y'all were here that time. I mean,
Yeah.
y'all got after it, man. And I'm like, man, these are real men here, you know. And these are badasses, man. And you know, then that's what it takes, man. I mean,
That's the best bit about it,
that's what it takes, man.
man. I used to
Yeah, sorry, James.
Yeah, no, I was saying like my best days, the days that I feel the best coming out of the gym were the days when I used to put 7 wheels on the bar and squat when my knee was good.
Exactly.
And I came out of there feeling like I was actually deserving of every pound of muscle I got. If I do this new stuff, I feel like a imposter.
Yeah, you put enough bands on there that 5 plates becomes like 240 when you're squatting it. You know, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Well, you're on a Smith machine, and that Smith machine already takes away the first wheel. First time I ever used one of those, I was like, man, I'm a strong motherfucker, man. You know, I'm doing 275 on the front press, but in reality, it's like 175. You know, it's not.
Yeah.
A lot of these machines, I mean, you put a wheel on there, it kind of just floats. It don't, you know, that's like the 0 poundage part.
Yeah.
So with 2 wheels, you're really pressing 1 wheel, and but ours ain't like that.
Yeah, you
Ours
got good
is
old
heavy as
equipment.
fuck. Yeah,
Because you
our
got the
stuff
old
here
equipment. Yeah, you got the
is
hammer
heavy.
strength, old stuff.
Yeah.
So if me and Amp can attest to this, some of the stuff that's made by companies now, you've literally got to put 3 wheels aside before it even feels heavy. And it's like, it really defeats the point. And all it does is it gives more ego to people that care about that. It's like, nah, go get on the bar and see what real strength is, man.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
If anything, it's actually it's quite annoying because let's say you got to do like a certain like squat press or something, you got to pile like plates and plates and plates on there. I would much prefer, and like I'm unlike yourself, but obviously I'm not, as advanced in age as yourself. I'm approaching 50, we'll just say that. And I can't barbell squat like I used to, etc. But I would much prefer to just get under a barbell and throw some plates on there rather than slam like dozens and dozens of plates on a machine.
I agree.
Much more fun.
We just opened up a new MetroFlex in Oklahoma a few weeks ago, and this gentleman, I mean, he went all out. I mean, he's got all the hardcore shit, but he bought all. I mean, I don't know how much this man spent, but this gym's amazing. I mean, he bought every piece of like of the high dollar, the high, most sought after equipment that you could imagine. All these, pendulum squats and all that kind of stuff. And so we went there for the grand opening. I took Ronnie, and while he's signing, 1,000 autographs or whatever, I'm trying out like every machine. I'm gonna try that one. I want to try that one. I want to try that one. And like some of the leg stuff I like, but like I could not find an arm machine that that felt good at all, man. I'm like, these are horrible, man. And I asked, I said, what are those? And they're like $5,000 a piece. I'm like, wow. Yeah. I'll just stand over here and do alternate dumbbell curls. I think I like that better, man. Or just give me a bar. I'll fucking curl the shit out of it, man. I'll heave it, but I'll get a pump. I promise you, man. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Over-engineered a lot of stuff. Over-engineered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I want to kind of returning back to the things, the other bit that I really liked about your story is that you went to your show and you wanted an atmosphere in your gym. You'd switched up the kit, and then you invited all the bodybuilders, and there weren't that many, because I imagine you wanted to build like an atmosphere. And that's another thing that's so hard to create.
Yeah. Back then, pretty much we had no normal people here. Normal or whatever the word is, I mean, everybody that came here was either a power lifter or a bodybuilder, or like, or maybe a football player or something like that.
Yeah. We
didn't have any like just people coming in trying to get in shape. And now we do have some like that, and it's cool, man. I mean, they feed off the energy too. I mean, they're not gonna ever get on stage, and their goal might be to look good at their high school reunion, and that's fine. And I still applaud them too, man. I see them training hard. I'm like, man, that's awesome. And that's great that you can squat that now or something. I mean, I try to encourage everyone. I mean, I believe that encouragement and blessing others is the way to go, man. I mean, especially these young guys. Like today, I got here. I'm training my client, and a new kid came in. I don't know if he just got out of school for summer. Never seen him before. And this little guy got after it, man. I mean, probably weighed 150 pounds, 5'4", probably about 15 years old. But he hit it hard, man. I mean, everything. I mean, I don't think he ever rested more than 20 seconds. And like for 2 hours, he did like shoulders. he did like every exercise you could possibly do for your shoulders that I've ever even thought of or seen, man. And it was all with weights, and it was kind of cool. And at the end of it, I went up to him, I said, "Hey, man, I'm impressed, man." I said, "I'll give you a free month just because you trained so hard today." He's like, "What?" I go, "Yeah, man." So hopefully, and who knows, man, he may be the next Grant Warren. You know?
It's a very nice feeling, isn't it, when you have that
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
relationship with a member. I find that since I've opened the gym, there's a few that have kind of shone out to me. And when you're able to have an exchange like that, it goes a long way for yourself as well, how you
Oh,
feel.
yeah, man. I mean, to me, I'm so blessed. I don't deserve the blessings I have. I mean, God has blessed me so much in every way, man. I mean, I'm a terrible business person, but I have a very successful business. We just now, today, this very day, we signed our first international gym. It'll be in Japan. And I'm super stoked about that, man, because now I'm hoping somebody from England's going to open up a MetroFlex, and then somebody from Germany, and then somebody from who knows where, man. I mean, we've always had inquiries, but no one's ever done it. And this guy did it, man. And he was a kind of a sneaky little guy, man. He came over here for about 2 weeks, and he went to a bunch of MetroFlex gyms across America. He didn't ever tell anybody what he was doing. And he finally came here last. And then he's telling me, he's, all these gyms, yours is the smallest. I said, yeah. He was in, but the atmosphere here is special. I go, yeah, it is, man. And he goes, I love it. And then he told me, I want to bring this to Japan. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, man, let's go. And that was like a month ago, and it happened today.
So cool. So cool.
So,
That's really good.
Thank you,
Congratulations
Lord.
on that. Yeah, congratulations. I think we said this, that, the Japanese culture for bodybuilding is actually growing tremendously, and there's some really good talent there. So it'd be interesting to see.
They do.
Yeah.
We had some guys come from China actually last year.
Yep.
I could not believe how big this motherfucker was, man. I mean, he was like Ronnie's size, man. I mean, he wasn't hard like Ronnie was, but I bet this dude was 5'11", 310, maybe more. Fucking giant. And great calves, he had everything. And then he brought another guy with him that was, I mean, his legs were like Tom Platts' guy. They were insane. Yeah. And he actually got on that. He wanted to do the leg press that Ronnie hit the 2300 on.
The Nebula.
Yeah, and we loaded that motherfucker up, and he did it. That motherfucker got 10 reps, and they were legit. I mean, it wasn't those,
Yeah.
So many people do that shit, man. It drives me insane, man. I'm like, God dang. I mean, I have 2 knee replacements, man. I still bring it back till it hits me in the chest, man. I mean, yeah, I don't do 2,000 pounds anymore, but I still do 1,000. I still rep that out. I get a pump, man. Don't be doing that 2-inch shit. Just find another exercise. Don't even do it if that's how you got to do it.
That Nebula press, has it ever needed some repair work after all the hard work?
Absolutely. I actually, the original Nebula, I took the whole platform off of it and I welded that extra piece up top. Actually, when I bought it, I made them put the the part where you add the weights on the bar,
extra horns,
made it longer than normal.
Yeah, so they're like this.
So you can fit like 15 on each side. But then we added that other piece up top, and that up top piece, I think you can put like another, like maybe 10 on each side on that one or something like that. But it's 2,320 pounds is what it'll hold if you completely max it out.
It's funny because I literally watched Cost of Redemption the last couple of days because you can watch it on YouTube now. Mox put it on there, so I'm very up to date again with all the great lifts of that off season that
was great for the
2003.
With Ronnie that year, I disagree with him on this. I mean, I think that was by far his best year. He thinks when he won the Arnold was his best, but I mean, he literally weighed 50 more pounds in 2003. I mean, how can you not be? You're 50 pounds bigger, and you're the same body fat or leaner at 300.
Yeah,
but he, that year before, what happened was he looked amazing. We were about 5 weeks out, and back then we would take pictures with a box camera, and then we'd send the pictures to his coach. this nutrition guy, you know, and then he would tell him what to eat for the week. And then when he did that, you know, we'd adjust it. Well, I'm looking at Ronnie. I said, dude, what do you weigh right now? And he was like 289 or something like that. I said, you need to go like this. He already had deep butt striations. I'm like, you need to go to the Olympia like this and just take a diuretic and friggin' show these motherfuckers what you have.
Yeah.
Nobody really knows. I mean, every year, that last month, you lose 30 to 40 pounds. I mean, it's stupid. And the only reason he was able to pull it off because he had so much muscle. I mean, he had no body fat. So he's really losing muscle, you know? I mean, it was weird, but then he's like, no, man, they want me smaller this year. They want me to come in about 250. I'm like, I'm telling you right now, you go to 250, it ain't gonna be good. They say that shit, but no, hell no.
Yeah.
No way, man. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. But he did. And he ate like a little bird and he drank protein shakes. He didn't, you know, he went completely off his normal feeding pattern and literally lost
At the GNC.
40 some pounds. Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
and then he went to that.
Yeah.
And then the story on that deal before the Olympia, you know, we didn't have internet or nothing like that. Promoters would send you out flyers. Well, Ronnie's on there, you know, and they got a couple little girls in the corner, got all the info. I'm like, damn, how much is this? 100 grand? He goes, yeah, man, easy money after the Olympia. I'm like, well, congratulations. Awesome, man. Well, that Tuesday, I think after that Olympia where he barely won, I got a new poster. Well, this one, Ronnie ain't on. Here's Gunter.
No.
Gunter's now took Ronnie's spot. When Ronnie come in, I go, look at this shit, man. I go, you don't need to go to this. Oh, fuck that, man. He goes, ain't no way that motherfucker can beat me. Never. And I'm like, I mean, I was there. You know, I mean, Ronnie was way off, and he was small for Ronnie. You know, I mean, that was not Ronnie up there at 250 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, he was probably sick, man. I mean, you know, who knows what? I don't know. Anyway, you know, long story short, you know what happened, and then after that, I go, will you fucking go back to eating normal? And then that next show, he ate like 5 pounds of meat a day.
I'm watching. So I was watching Brian. So did he actually, you know, in that video where he eats black eyed peas twice a day, then
Yes.
Outback?
That's all real.
Did he do that consistently for a long time?
Yes.
I love it.
He did that year in and year out.
Do you know what it's done? It's made me feel like it's okay for me to do that.
I was just going to say, James is up his calories by 1,000 every day now. Shit.
That he would go to Outback for that steak meal, that last one, and as he got closer, he would eat French fries in the off season, and he just take the French fries out.
That's it.
I mean, Ronnie's a freak, man. I mean, it ain't hard to diet Ronnie. I mean, my God, honestly, once he started taking anabolics, he probably could have ate pizza and peanut butter and still won the Olympia. Man. I mean, because even now, I took him fishing the other night. He weighs 250. He's got more veins in his legs probably than you do. Yeah. I mean,
guaranteed.
It's like
guaranteed.
It's a fucking roadmap of vascularity. I'm looking at his legs. I'm like, the one leg is pretty much dead. That's his problem. Like he can't walk because that one leg, it doesn't work properly. But the other leg, he can still kind of train it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's jacked up too, but it's not like I always get confused. I think it's his left leg that's like completely dead. But I mean, upper body, he's still hard as a fucking rock. I mean, he's got veins in his stomach.
Yeah.
I mean, he eats way better than he used to. But like when I met him, his diet was literally, chicken fried steak, pizza, cheeseburger, bologna sandwiches, fried chicken, fried catfish. That was it. You know, all fried shit, no vegetables, no fruit. I mean, maybe a hamburger, maybe had lettuce on it, maybe you get some there, but I doubt it. He'd probably take that off. He don't eat any vegetables. When I gave him his first diet, he's like, "Oh, I can't eat that."
Yeah.
No, I can't eat that.
Never seen him eat a vegetable.
If it's green, I ain't eating it. Like, okay. And Branch the same way. He'd always joke. But me and him, we travel a lot together, and he always gets I mean, I can't imagine Branch's food bill even now. I mean, he'll always get like 3 meals. We went out to eat 2 days ago. I mean, his bill alone probably had to be $80, maybe 100. I'm like, God dang, man. I mean, the man, he can eat. I don't know who'd eat more, him or Ronnie, man. They both eat.
Brian,
I mean, I imagine y'all probably eat a lot like that too, man.
but Branch was telling me there was a time where Trish pulled him up on how much he was spending a month on food.
Oh,
And he was like, why is so much money being spent? I'm not eating that much. Like, I'm eating, but not that much.
mhm.
He was doing something silly like thousands of dollars on sushi a month because he
Oh,
really liked
yeah.
his sushi. So
yeah.
sushi was a big
Oh,
thing
yeah.
for Branch.
Yeah, for him to eat $200 worth of sushi would be nothing. Nothing. That'd be easy.
He does eat a lot, actually, because when I've been
Oh,
around
yeah.
him, he eats a lot.
Like probably, golly, I don't know. Right before he won that first Arnold, I went elk hunting. And I got an elk right away on this ranch. Well, on this ranch, they had a wild herd of buffalo. They're like, man, you want to hunt a buffalo? I said, man, I can't afford that. And they're like, oh, no, man, we'll make you a deal. What size you want? I said, well, man, I don't know. You know, and they're like, you get like a average bull for, well, normally it's like $4,000, but if you want it, $300. I'm like, $300? I'm there. Because with that, I got like almost 500 pounds of meat. And I gave him probably 2/3 of that meat, and that's what he ate. And it made a difference in the way he looks. I mean, because, you know, like wild game like that, it's lean. I mean, like a buffalo loin, it's just as lean as a chicken breast. Same thing with elk, same thing with deer.
Yeah.
And that also got him hunting again. You know, he hadn't hunted in years, and I started taking him hunting. And of course, now he's more obsessed with it than I am. I mean, he's got literally a Fort Knox arsenal of weapons. And I mean, and he can make a mile shot now. I mean, he is a expert long range shooter now, man. It's pretty cool, actually, man. But when we go hunting, I still get him most of the time. And I'll use one of my guns from like I bought when I was like 14. What are you using that piece of shit for? You need to buy a gun like this. I'm like, I don't. You're the millionaire in the family, not me, man. I go, buy me one. I'll use it. You know, but he actually let me use when we went this last year. He let me use one of his badass weapons, and I'll tell you what, man.
Nice
you don't mess with that son of a bitch, man. Everything I shot died. I mean, everything. Man, we had a blast, man. I mean, I love Branch, man. He's like he's a brother, man. You know, and he's I mean, hunting with him, and especially where I get to go with him, it's where he grew up at. Some of my favorite places in the world to go to, man. I mean, it's just amazing. Hopefully, he'll buy it one day.
I always try to explain to people, like, in today's world, it's very easy for people to pretend and look like they are what they pretend to be. And I always try to say, Branch is everything you actually expect him to be and more. He's as badass, if not 10 times more badass than he comes across. Like, yeah. If I was, for real. If there was a zombie apocalypse and I needed a teammate, it's Branch.
Yeah,
all day long.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, Brian, and I don't know if you can even answer this one since we're talking about Branch. Who trained the hardest, Branch or Ronnie?
I'm going to say Branch. Yeah, if I had to say who trained harder, Branch, because of the level of intensity and the speed of the workout. Like, I remember, I can't remember which show it was, but he got like 5th or something. And I believe, our head judge tells him, if you bring your back up, you're going to win. So he told me that. I said, all right, well, let's make some changes. And his back was always big, but it wasn't detailed enough. So we started doing these workouts, literally 40 sets in less than an hour. And I'm talking, multiple sets per exercise with, extreme weights as well. And when we did that for that next show, and he started winning, and his back actually became probably one of his best body parts, in my opinion. But the thing with Ronnie that made it so impressive was, I mean, Branch, don't get me wrong, Branch is strong as fuck too, but the amount of weight that Ronnie could lift was almost supernatural. Like just to take those 200-pound dumbbells. I mean, just to pick those motherfuckers up and get them up to your chest and press them, that's a feat of strength to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, he would do it every week. I mean, by this time, I didn't train with him. I just spotted him because really, he was coming in at 3 in the afternoon. I'm already here for like 8 hours by that time. I like training early and getting it over with.
Yeah.
And but I still would spot him, and I mean, he would. This is how those workouts went at the end. He would do, for say, chest. On maybe Monday, he would do all barbell. So incline, flat, decline, and he would start out with one wheel every single time. I go, Ronnie, you're already warmed up. Just start with like 3 wheels, and you'll be able to do more later. Nah, I like it this way. Okay. And he would start 1 wheel for 10, 2 wheels for 10, 3 wheels for 10, 4 wheels for 10, and then he'd load something up and go for it. And he did that the same thing with dumbbells. And I mean, he did that over and over and over again, man. And for him, I think because that last set was so heavy, it worked. Like if I did that kind of training, for me, I don't think it would work. Really, I mean, he didn't do any flies, no cable crossover, no dips. It was always flat or incline, flat, decline, and that was it. But for him, of course, I mean, his chest, one of his pecs is about
wide.
It's the size of most pro bodybuilders, both their pecs. Like I remember like looking up there on that stage at the Olympia and looking at guys like Flex Wheeler who looked amazing, but literally their frame, like you could take Flex's whole frame and put it within Ronnie's chest span.
Yeah, the width of the
And
span.
I mean, he's just freaking giant. Like it wasn't like when you see some guys like like our current Olympia winner or Hadi, these guys are freaks, but they're very short. Ronnie didn't look freaky like that because he looks very symmetrical at that, because he's 5'11".
Good height.
But it made it hard to appreciate how big he was in person back then. I mean, to this day, I mean, I've seen Big Ramy and all them guys, Nick Walker, all them. To me, they're not even close to as big as what he was at his, that just, I don't know, man. Just
it's the silhouette, isn't it, as well?
Fucking like 3 foot wide, man. It was huge, man.
The shape.
And his arms kept getting bigger. I mean, his arms at the end were like 24.5 inches or something.
Yeah, 24.5.
Without a pump. I remember he was walking in the door one day, and I'm looking, because I don't think anybody has more veins than Ronnie. I mean, it's like God gave him extra set of veins or something. And then he's got those friggin' garden hoses in his biceps. And he's walking in, and of course it's 100 degrees, so your veins really sticking out. I'm like, Ronnie, I go, let me see how big your arm is, man. All right, no pump, nothing, just walked in the door, 24.5. And I did it right. I didn't do, I didn't angle it I did it right, man. I'm like, that's insane, man. And I mean, sometimes then he wouldn't even hardly do arms.
No. By the end, he didn't do them very direct, did he?
No, a lot of times he didn't do much. I mean, at that point in time, he was doing a triceps after chest and biceps after back.
Yeah.
But he just do like a couple exercises. He didn't have to.
And then, so obviously, Ronnie did that heavy on the Monday, like that crazy barbells. And then when he came round to hitting chest again in a week,
still heavy.
Was it different exercises or was it the same again?
Same exercises, but with dumbbells.
Okay, so that's the yeah.
That was it. Yeah, he just changed it. Incline, flat, decline, but with dumbbells.
So basic.
And he actually was doing those 200-pounders like up to 20 times, which was insane. And then I bought him for his birthday a pair of 225s and a pair of 250s. But somewhere, I don't really know when it all happened, but that's when he first got hurt. And he never did press those 225s or 250s.
Oh, okay.
Like he would do shrugs with them. He would do one-arm rows with them. But I don't ever recall him doing any kind of a pressing movement with those. But, he'd already probably won at least 6 by then.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he never complained about being hurt. We didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
The only thing I saw was in 2003. I know he said he had a funny left shoulder slightly. So that, I'm assuming that might have been, that's the one that you used to put the Valio strap on the left side after 2003. So maybe wherever that was, he was obviously new in his mind. So he's like, okay, I won't do nothing crazy on that. Because he obviously knows what's going on with his body. So he was smart and worked around it, like you said earlier. because you're still barbell pressing at that point.
Yep.
So
well, that year, no, I can't remember the exact year, but it was the year that he got beat.
06.
Yeah, that Flex magazine would always come here to film him, and that summer he didn't train here that much. He did his leg workouts here, but he has $100,000 worth of equipment at his house, and so he did all of his other workouts at his house.
Yeah,
and doing them there,
wasn't the same.
No, I mean, in fact, after he hadn't been here for about 6 weeks, I went over there. I went to his house. I'm like, see what's going on, and yeah, I mean, it looked like a used car lot. I mean, Ronnie's like a car freak, man. I mean, he spent literally a fortune on vehicles, man. And I mean, he had a Rolls Royce, he had a Hummer, an original Hummer, 2 Escalades. I mean, literally $1 million+ worth of cars. And he had a guy working on him. Well, I walked up, and this guy's like, bows up, and what do you want here? I said, motherfucker, you wouldn't be here one for me. Step aside. And I just walked into his house. Pissed me off, man. And anyway, I mean, he didn't even know I was there. I watched him work out for about 10 minutes. And then he saw me sitting, looking down on him. Oh, hey, man, what's up? I said, man, you all right? Yeah, man. I'm like, how come you ain't been coming to the gym? Man, it's just easier coming over here. It's right here. I'm kind of like, bullshit, man. And I just told him, I said, Ronnie, if you want, I'll come here and I'll help you. You just tell me what time to be here. I will come here. Because, I'm watching him train. He's training like somebody at Planet Fitness, man. I mean, he wasn't going crazy. He wasn't going heavy. He was just kind of going through the motions, But I didn't know he was hurt.
Yeah.
And he didn't want us to know, I guess, or something. I don't know. And, it's very sad, when a champion like that gets hurt. Honestly, when I see Ronnie now, never in my wildest dreams could I believe that this supernatural freak of a man could be where he's at now.
Must be hard, especially as a friend.
And everybody like, oh, you're gonna be like Ronnie. You better not lift so heavy. Oh, god dang, that's from him doing all that crazy heavy shit. No, it ain't. It's from going to the wrong surgeon, and whatever they did to him, they messed him up for life, man.
They bullsed it.
And then he just kept going back and back and back. And I mean, I've lost count of how many surgeries. I quit. I used to go there after every surgery. I'd go there, be waiting on for him to get out of the recovery. And after about the 5th one, I'm like, well, I guess he knows I care about him. I'd send him a text. Hope you're good, brother, or something.
Yeah,
because it became routine almost.
I bet.
But yeah, I mean, I love Ronnie, man.
Sorry, Brian. That pisses me off when I go online and I see guys like, oh yeah, it's his own fault for lifting all those heavy weights and stuff. Like you said, he had the original back injury from the football injury, and the first surgery didn't go well, so it was consecutive surgeries after that kind of caused the damage, wasn't it? So it does really piss me off, because you always get those guys like, oh yeah, it's his own fault. He shouldn't have done the 800-pound squats and all this stuff, and it really, really does annoy me.
Yes, I agree, because they don't really know. I mean, who knows if he had went to the right surgeon? Would he be squatting 700 now? I doubt it, but I know he'd be doing better than he is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I mean, I love Ronnie, man, and it's just hard, man. I mean, like we had his birthday party, turned 60, and it was 2 weeks ago. We had a big birthday party for him, and a lot of people gave like testimonies, and majority of them were like, I mean, just kind of giving, good examples of stuff he's done.
Yeah.
And when it was my turn, basically all I could do was thank him, because he made me famous, I mean, of course, Branch and Johnny and Corey Matthews and other people also have come through here, and I got new pros now like Jordan, but Ronnie started it all. And of course, to me, he's the greatest of all time. And to see him now, I'm probably going to start crying. Forgive me, but estrogen moment here.
Don't worry, man. We're real around here.
To see him like he is now, it breaks my fucking heart, man.
Yeah,
but
I can imagine.
He will not show anything negative. I mean, he stays so positive. I mean, even to take him on the boat to go fishing, I literally had to pick him up, and it was like a world record deadlift for me to get him in that boat, man, because he's still big, man. But I got him in there, And, you know, he still has a lot of joy, which is amazing to me. Because if I had 1/10 of that shit going on in my body, I mean, I got a lot of injuries, but I'm still always able to do shit. And with him, you know, he can't do that anymore. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's things he can't do. He'll never run again. You know, I mean, I ran sprints last night. You know, he's not going to be able to ever squat or deadlift unless a miracle happens, which I pray it does. Man. But, you know, Ronnie's an exceptional person, man. You know, just the fact that the fact that he can still be positive, and just friendly. I mean, like when I took him to Oklahoma for that deal, literally, I mean, I'm ready to go home, man. I mean, I've been there. I'd already played ball 2 games that morning. I drive 150 miles to Oklahoma. You know, we set him up. He signs literally 1,000 autographs, maybe more. But he will not leave until he takes care of that very last person.
It's a special person.
Yes, and he makes them act like they're doing him a favor, coming and asking him for their autograph. You know, so he's a great man. I mean, he's just a good guy, man. And,
I
love him.
I no, totally get it. You know, I've seen, you know, if you see a level of deterioration on someone, number one, someone you actually personally do love, but number two, that you know that gives so much, you know, like they're selfless in what they do. It's really tough, and it's a very emotional thing, and it can really trigger you.
One of the great things about him, when I'm like, you wish you never lifted all that heavyweight, he's like, no, I wish I'd done more.
Yeah,
I should have done that 805 squat for more reps, which he probably could have done like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I don't think he realized that, oh shit, that wasn't that hard. Did another one. Well, I got another one. Boom. And I better rack it. You know, I'm telling you, you know, I mean, honestly, if we'd have trained Ronnie for powerlifting, he would have been the world champion. Without a doubt.
In an alternative universe somewhere, there's a Ronnie Coleman that did the powerlifting instead. Yes. I'd like to see that as well. Yeah.
I mean, I just like once he won the Olympia, I'm like, we don't need to be doing this powerlifting shit no more. Because I had a nightmare that he would tear that bicep deadlifting.
Yeah.
It's like I mean, I remember like when he would pull that weight, you know, the underturned hand, that bicep would like woo. It would like, I mean, you could watch it like come out. I'm like, oh fuck, no. But and same thing on T-bar. I mean, he used to do T-bar. If we found all the thin plates, you could fit 11 on there if you find it all thin, and he could legitimately do it and do it correctly.
Yeah,
it's impressive as hell, man. I mean, that's 495 pounds out in front of you. I mean, so I don't know what that's equivalent to. I mean, he could easily do 500 for 12 bent over rows, and I'd be like, man, get some more. Oh, that's good enough. He just wrecked it.
Yeah. Oh man, he was picking up like 5 wheels aside and rowing them at the same sort of tempo. Form. Yeah, like the same as all the weight prior to it.
I mean, I love Dorian, but when Dorian did that same movement, of course, I always saw him do an underhand grip. You know, his body was more at an angle like that. You know, Ronnie is like that. Yeah. I mean, he was completely level, man. And I mean, to do that with that kind of weight, I've never seen anybody do that.
It's impossible almost. It's almost impossible.
For a normal man, it sure is, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Love that. I do appreciate
sorry, James.
That's all right.
Are you still okay for a few questions, Brian? We don't want to keep you too long. You're sitting in that office because I know how hot it is in there. I've only been there once, and I was like,
he cut off 5 minutes. Steven cut off all my fans and everything. I'm sitting there. I'll make it. I'm used to it.
I've got a quick question, Brian, if you don't mind. So I remember seeing some footage of yourself and Ronnie on stage. How did that come around? How did you end up competing against Ronnie?
Oh, his first show. What was
that like
ever.
When you saw him backstage? Like, oh shit.
Well, his first show ever was the Mr. Texas. I got second in Mr. Texas like 5 times. I never won it, and so I told him that's the show you're going to do, and I'm going to do it with you. And that's kind of I think if I hadn't done it with him, he might not have done it, because he was really shy at first. I kept telling him, I said, dude, you don't understand. The moment you go boom, it's over. They're going to fucking lose it. I go, nobody's ever seen arms like yours here. I mean, no one. So you are going to be very happy after this show. When you see the ovation you're going to get, and you're going to win. I'm telling you right now, unless something crazy happens, you're going to win. And sure enough, he won, and I got second again. So,
well, second to, you know,
it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. The only thing I think I ever beat Ronnie on was abs. I could always beat him on abs. But like when we practiced posing together, I'd act like I could whip his ass, man. I'd go there. I said, man, you look like shit. I'm gonna beat you today, man. Of course, I never did, you know. But yeah, I try. I do it with a smile on my face too, man.
Good.
I had one of my novice guys today posing against one of our open competitors. He's like, man, I can't pose next to him. I said, man, I used to pose next to Ronnie. Are you fucking kidding me? I said, get out there and act like you're gonna whip his ass.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, he got confidence. And he looked damn good next to this guy, man. He weighed like 180, and my big boy weighs like 250. He'll be in the branch. They're both going to do the branch next week.
Nice, love that.
So hopefully the one will win
each class,
light heavy, and big boy will win super heavy, man.
That would be cool.
I got a real funny question on Instagram, Brian. So I remember when myself and James came out, you were telling us about some of the fights and stuff that happened in MetroFlex.
Oh, in the gym?
Yeah. So one guy asked me if this is a true story. He asked me if there's once a fight where somebody had their ponytail cut off and nailed to the wall. No,
okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what happened on that one. Actually, I didn't start Branch. My old workout partner started Branch. Branch was so poor, he was sneaking into the gym with a guy that had a membership. And my buddy even caught him, but he saw the potential. So he said, if you come here and let me train you, I'm not going to kick you out. I'll give you a free membership. So that's how it started with Branch. He won his first show at 16. And then this gentleman I was talking about, he's the one that, I think he had Branch start coming over here. Well, he had to get a car. Yeah, he wasn't even old enough to have his own vehicle yet. So once he got this old beat up Toyota truck, and he started coming here. And I remember he did a little interview here the other day. I was just listening to him talking, and he was saying, man, I pulled into that parking lot, and I see this big motherfucker out in the parking lot with all these hot chicks in bikinis. He ain't wearing nothing but a pair of black spandex. Of course, that was me. And it was on a Friday, and Friday was Bikini Friday. And I trained a lot of women back then. A lot of them were, adult entertainers, or whatever you want to call it, strippers, whatever. And we did squats. I made them all do 10 sets of 10 in the squat. That was every Friday. And then we did 5 sets of parking lot lunges. And so he pulled up while that was going on. And he goes, Metallica was blasting on the radio so loud I could barely hear. This guy's screaming at these beautiful women. And he goes, I knew right then, this is going to be my home. And he was he's been here ever since, pretty much, man. But the man that brought him here was a very tough guy, man. And he was strong. He's no longer with us. He passed away at a very young age. I guess it's probably been 15, 20 years now, man. I don't know. Yeah, it's got to be close to 20 years because he was almost my age. And I'm 67 now. And he died at 48, and we were the same age. So 19 years ago, he died. But he was a rough guy, man. And he didn't put up with shit. He was kind of one of those kind of bully bodybuilder kind of guys, like people. I always used to joke with him. I said, man, your whole game is fear and intimidation. I go, everybody's scared of you. I said, I ain't scared of your ass, man. And we became friends because his brother, he had a twin brother, he trained here. And his name was Mike, and Mark is the guy that we're talking about. And Mark was doing the Mr. Texas that year. And his brother bragging about it, and he's like, yeah, we're going to beat my brother. They did a story on him in the Dallas Morning News and blah, blah, blah. I said, I don't give a shit. I go, tell him I'm entering. What, you going to go against my brother? I go, yeah. I mean, yeah, he bigger than me, but I got a better body. And anyway, I nearly beat him. I lost by 1 point. So that was another one of my second place Mr. Texas stories. But we became friends after that. And he had a really weird thing with women. like if he was with a woman, they were bonded to him for life in his mind. I remember one day when I first met him, he had this little girl that wasn't even cute, and, you know, and I'm like, he's just didn't fit to me, you know, and she disappeared. And, you know, I mean, this guy had tons of women, man. At his funeral, there were so many beautiful chicks there. It was just like, man, this is crazy. And they were all ex-girlfriends, man, all of them. And but anyway, he had this one girl at the time. This girl was a nut, man. I mean, she was like a nympho chick, man. And she was not loyal to him, but he didn't know that. But I did, because I had a bunch of male dancers here at the time, and they tell me that, and that chick comes up to the club and she takes one of us home every time. I said, well, don't let Mark know, because he'll kill both y'all, man.
Yeah.
Because that's just how he was. I mean, it was weird the way he was. I mean, I'm talking, it might be years after they've been together. It don't matter. I said, man, do you like stamp your initials right here on these chicks? And you're like a bull elk. You have a harem, and anybody gets near it, you're going to kill them. That's right, man. Fuck that shit, man. They're with me for life, man. Okay. But if you're listening to the way Branch talks, I'm like, Branch, you don't have a Texas accent, really? It's because this guy was from New Jersey. And like you and Branch, and whenever he talks, like, you know, they sound alike. Even now to this day, when Branch talks, sometimes he sounds like this guy. But anyway, on that particular day, he brought that chick down here. And she's a nut. I mean, as soon as he walks away from me, she comes up to me. I think you're a lot cuter than him, and your body's prettier. I go, man, get the fuck away from me right now. And then I got one of them dancers come in, and she says hi to the guy. And he's like, oh, hey, how you doing? You know, that was it. And, you know, those guys never came in before like 3 o'clock. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. And so I go to him, I go, hey, man, congratulations for coming in early and getting up, man. That's great. Good job, man. And then I remember we were doing incline presses. When he comes up, he goes, man, who's that motherfucker? You know, I'm just like, I go, he's one of the dick dancers, man. I mean, I don't know. Well, how's fucking Michelle know her? I go, man, I don't know. And man, he just starts getting madder and madder. Pretty soon we have 6 wheels on the incline, 585. And that son of a buck got like 5 reps with it somehow. And I'm, you know, me and Ronnie are just like, what the hell? And after he wrecks it, this poor Vic guy was over on the leg curl machine across the gym. He gets up, and that his chick was kind of over there by him. And he just runs across the gym, and me and Ronnie are like, what's going on? And he comes up and just, whoa! I mean, just, the guy was like face down on the leg curl, smokes him right here on this side of the head. And I look on the ground, there's an eyeball on the ground. I'm like, what the fuck? And the guy had a glass eye. I never knew it. Well, it knocked him out, knocked the eye out of his head. And then Mark grabs him. And, you know, like I said, these people all had long hair back then. And he literally stands on this guy's back and with his hair in his hand. And this guy was an 800-pound deadlifter. Rips, like scalps him by ripping it out of his skull. And then just goes, whoa, throws it up in the air. Fuck this shit, man. And he walks out and he grabbed that girl, drug her out by the hair, turns around and looks at me. He goes, when that motherfucker comes to, you tell him, if he presses charges, I'll kill him. I'm like, yes, sir. The guy comes to. He's like, what happened? I said, man, you got bushwhacked, dude. I said, I think it was mistaken identity. He goes, what? And I'm like, yeah, man, I got mad over Michelle. Man, I don't mess with that crazy bitch. I said, I'm sure you don't, but, you know, I'm sorry. And I told him what he said. He's like, I'm going to call the police. I said, well, if you do, just let me tell you, because this guy had already been in trouble. If he got in trouble again, he's going to go away. He'd already had 2 strikes, you know, and he'd already been in prison. And they both had been for assault. So doing this, he might have died in prison. Hell, I don't know. But I said, I go, this dude is crazy enough to kill you. I said, but if I was you, I would call the cops right now. And then I'd just start carrying a gun. And when he comes for you, I said, don't stop shooting till he's on the ground. Yeah. Because he ain't going to go down easy, man. And anyway, that guy never did anything. And of course, he never came back. But in the meantime, I took that ponytail And I actually put it up here in the corner of the gym, and I tacked it on the wall. And I put it I said, "Don't make Mark mad." Or something like that. It was up there for years, man. I don't know whatever happened to it finally, but yeah.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, that happened.
I love it.
Yeah, we could tell Mark stories till Jesus comes back. I'm telling you. I mean, like a lot of times when me and Branch do these long hunting trips, we'll just start telling Mark stories.
Yeah.
And we'll tell. I mean, pretty soon we're back in Dallas, because
Well, you know it.
About 20 hours worth of talk about that shit.
Love that. The amount of history and the stories is what makes the place
We really
special,
have.
man. It's what makes it special.
Exactly.
Built that, and it's your doing. You're responsible for that. So
Yeah,
a lot of people,
like I said, I've been blessed, man.
now you're blessed, but you've blessed a lot of people as well. Like
I
when
try
we,
to.
when we came over, you treat us fantastic. Felt like we were at home, and
Good.
we had an amazing training session. And obviously, I've been to your gym now multiple times, and every time is a fucking good time.
Are you coming here for that deal in August?
Hopefully, because then I'm going to train eels. But I just, you know what? I said this to Anth. If I could just do an entire prep out of MetroFlex, I bloody would.
That.
I would love it.
Yeah.
If I can make it work, I'll make it happen at some point.
Hell yeah. I mean, because you're going to Olympia, right?
Well, I haven't qualified yet.
Okay.
So I don't know what
when you qualify, come here for them last 6 weeks.
Thank you, man. Open invite then.
Gents, I do apologize, gents. I started this and it was light. Now it's gone off, and I do want to stand up and put the light on.
It's all right.
Yeah, I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday, and we spoke about probably coming out because I only got to train at MetroFlex once, unfortunately, Brian, because I got injured the next day. I was in Texas because we came. So we came and did back, and I was like, shit, we got to go back the next day and use the Nebula leg press type of thing. And unfortunately, I injured the arm, so I couldn't brace myself in. So I'm definitely going to come back. I'm sure we'll get like 10 of us to get an Airbnb somewhere and do a full week of training at MetroFlex.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
That's honestly, that's not kissing your ass, man. I love bodybuilding. I've been in this game for like 30 plus years now, and it's up there with like Temple Gym as one of the most kind of inspiring kind of, I don't want to say weird energy. I said to James, as soon as we pulled up, like as soon as I got out of the car, like something, it's just more than just a gym. I can't really explain it, and I'm sure you know that kind of feeling as well, yeah.
And like if you could find the source of something, like in the middle of a star, where the energy is its most concentrated. It's almost like the center of bodybuilding for me, like where the core feels like is when you enter MetroFlex.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That makes me feel really good. Thank you.
Man, it's fucking
even
awesome.
like the smell, and I mean that in a good way.
Fuck yeah.
It was like a fucking smell of like hot steel or hot iron.
Let's train.
Let's
get some blood on the floor.
Yes. We need to get Dan. We need to get you there, man.
Oh, mate, definitely. Yeah, 100%. I mean, for the first, he came back and he was like, like I haven't been like competing, but as soon as I got there, I got that like I was a kid again. Like it was just that energy, and you absorb that, and that's why I asked about when you went to the show and you got the guys to start building that energy. It like sticks to the wall. It's like it's such a rarity now, and like you can put whatever kit in whatever gym, but you can't create like that energy and
vibe. History as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it's weird. I'm like not a hippie, but I'm well into like transference of energy, and you have people of that like oscillating at that level. You can't. It gets absorbed by the place, and everyone gets to share it. And I love that shit.
I love it too, man. I mean, honestly, like Branch don't get to work out here anymore because he literally lives like 80 miles from here now. So like he came over last week, and I talked on the phone today. He was still talking about that workout from last week. He's like, fuck, I miss it, man. I want to come back over there. I miss it, man. And he's actually working out at one of my MetroFlexes. Yeah. That's closer to where he lives in Plano, Texas. But I mean, that gym is amazing to me. It looks great. I mean, they have great equipment. They have everything. It's a wonderful place. But for him, I think probably because, he grew up here. Yeah, it's very special to him.
It's home, isn't it? It's home.
Yeah.
You were Ronnie like that too.
Definitely be back. 1000%. You'll see a full crew of UK guys coming over soon, Brian.
Yeah. Brian, I actually have Ronnie coming to my gym on the 9th of July. So he's doing the All-Star Tour. So
that's right. He I think after today he's gone for like 3 weeks.
Yep. So looking forward to that. Any
Oh, yeah, that'd be
questions?
fun.
Any good questions to ask him? Just let me know because I want to
Ask him how many fish he caught when he went with
you fishing. I'll ask him.
because I got 20 I got 25 and we only brought 27 back, so
Okay,
that'll let you know how many he caught.
I'm gonna ask him. He'll laugh.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, man. I mean, you don't think of redneck catfishing as being like technical, but you have to be very precise with where you put that bait, at least on this particular lake.
Yeah.
Like literally, if you're 18 inches away from where you want to put it, they won't touch it. It's weird. You get it in there and you will catch them over and over again. He loves to fish, man. He really does, man. I mean, I started taking him on. Oh man, I mean, really, I think the first year he came here, I started taking him fishing. And I'll tell you what, that motherfucker can eat fish like no one on earth. I mean, I gave him, when we went that night, I didn't keep any of the fish. I gave him all of them. And I think it was 14 pounds of fillets.
Wow.
I mean, that's going to feed a family of 4 for like a week, you know? And because he fries them. And when you fry them, that fillet gets a lot bigger with the batter and all that shit on it.
Yeah.
But like, I gave it to him. The next day, I was like, I said, man, y'all eat that fish yet? Oh, yeah, I ate it last night. I said, you eat it with the kids? Oh, hell no. I ate all that shit, man. I go, you ate all of it? I ate every bit of it, B. I'm like, what? You ate all that? You didn't like split it for later? No, hell no, man. Hey, you know me, I love that shit. I ate it all.
I love that.
First time I ever took him, he had just been in his first pro show. And so on the way back, we stopped at McDonald's, like 2 different McDonald's. Here in Texas, a lot of times this time of year on the road, if you're out in the country, people will be selling like watermelon, peaches, tomatoes, shit like that. Every time we pass a roadside stand, man, pull over, Brian, pull over. I'm like, all right. And then we chow down like a whole watermelon. You know, I mean, watermelon's heavy. I mean, they weigh, it's all water, but you know, you eat a whole watermelon, you just took in about 5 pounds of fiber and liquid, man. And anyway, but we get home. I don't even care about eating. I've already ate like 9 times with him. You know, so we drove probably about 150 miles to this lake I took him to. And we caught 50 fish. Back then, the limit for catfish was 50 or 25 a person.
Okay.
And we had 50. And I'm outside, you know, I'm filleting these fish. I was married at the time. I had my first wife. I had her cooking the fish. As I'm filleting them, you know, and I didn't realize she's feeding them to Ronnie as, you know, because it takes a while to clean 50 fish. Probably took me 45 minutes. And I'm very good at it. I've cleaned thousands of fish in my life. I mean, I've been fishing my whole life. Anyway, I get inside, you know, now I'm hungry. And I don't know if you ever seen one of them nature shows where the lions kill like a water buffalo and they're all laying around, you know, with their guts hanging out. I look over on my couch and Ronnie's asleep and his stomach's like literally hanging off the couch. He's just like, and I'm like, I look at my wife, I go,
"There's one fish.
Where's the fish?" She goes, she just points over. He ate them all. I'm like, what the hell? He ate them all. I'm like, God dang, give me some French fries, I guess. Shit, I don't know. That's what I got. Yeah, he ate French fries with it.
Yeah, he's just a mutant of a man, isn't he, Ronnie?
I seen him eat a 28 piece of fried chicken all by himself in about 20 minutes. That was impressive to me.
That's an eating feat.
That was at a party he had years ago, and he called me. He goes, "Hey man, bring 2 boxes of the Popeyes fried chicken." I'm like, all right, I'll get the biggest they got. And, I mean, one of them, he ate the whole thing. It was very impressive.
Brian, I'm sure you are absolutely on fire in that little room because I remember how small it was, and I'm sure if you haven't got a fan or anything on, we don't want to keep you. We don't want to keep you too much longer, pal. So I appreciate your time, guys. Do you want to ask Brian anything before we shoot? Honestly, I could sit on here all day and listen to the story.
Yeah, it's one of those.
I know how hot it is out there because I've stood in there myself. I know you're accustomed to it, Brian, but I'm sure.
No, it's all good, man. I'm honored to be here, man.
Honestly,
I'm honored to be here, man. I got to watch through Steve, and he showed me some of the the training and training with Leroy. That's Dorian's old.
Yeah, I do
trainer, right?
apologize. Leroy couldn't make it this evening for us.
man.
He had an appointment to have a look at his feet or something. He said, Dan, wasn't it? He couldn't miss. Maybe we can get you back on, Brian, when we get Leroy on.
You meet Leroy.
It was cool. I mean, it was just. I loved watching the old Dorian videos.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy is intense, man. I mean, I just love the way he's getting fired up every set. Let's go, Diesel. Come on, like, hell yeah. Man,
But I'm pleased you said that, Brian, because Leroy's coming up of a certain age quite soon. I won't say his age. You probably know the age, guys, but so I know he's having some like celebration party and all that kind of stuff. But I was going to see if he wanted to come out to Texas to MetroFlex for like a long.
Oh, that would be badass.
I'm gonna maybe bend Mandy, his wife's arm a little bit and ask her nicely, very nicely, see if Leroy can get a pass out to Texas. I know he doesn't like flying like a long distance nowadays, but I think he would definitely enjoy it if he came out to MetroFlex.
I would love that, man.
Let's see if we can get that done. Let's see if we can get that done at some point.
That would be cool as shit.
Yeah, I'd love that as well. I'd make sure I need to be there for that one.
We'll get a petition with Leroy. She's lovely, Manny, so I'm sure we could twist her arm a little bit.
Sweet.
Cool. We'll get him over to MetroFlex.
Yeah, man.
That'd be that'd be so good.
Right, Brian, we'll let you go and get a cold shower and cool off. Appreciate your time. Inspirational stuff. Thanks for coming on, Brian. Much appreciated. Awesome stories.
I'm honored. Thank you all so much.
I knew we wouldn't get asked many questions because we just want to hear all the stories and stuff.
It's fun.
I can tell stories all day. I'm bad about that. You give me my kids, like when we go places and then we meet people, and of course, a lot of times it's hunting stories. I'm worse with hunting stories. Especially when I used to run a wild boar hunting service. And I had right behind that wall in the gym where the squat platform is.
Yeah. I
had my kennels back there. We called it Dixie War Dog Kennels. And I'd go all over Texas hunting these wild boar. But yeah, when you get me talking about that stuff, I mean, my kids, you would just see them, they just go, oh, shit, we're gonna be here a while. Like, sorry guys.
That's why we need one of them like nice campfire evenings in Texas.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely, man.
Like Brian, I don't even drink, but on those occasions, I'd have a whiskey.
Something like that. That's about the only time I drink. Like if I'm out hunting, sitting around the campfire, got to wake up at 4:30 a.m. to get out in my stand, and it's hard for me to go to sleep, man. I take a couple of shots of whiskey, man, and I'll be like,
boom.
Yeah.
I know Leroy likes the odd cognac, so there's another excuse to come out to Texas, Brian. We'll definitely try and get that lined up. So I'm sure Leroy will watch this back and I'll have a chat.
Yeah. I personally want to wish you all the best with the show in a few days' time. And again, implications prevented myself from being there. I was going to be guest posing, but I definitely will before my career's over. I will promise that I will be at your show guest posing before.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I have to.
Yeah.
And just again, thank you for your time. Thank you for being such a great person, and we do appreciate you.
Yes, sir. And like I said, that invitation to come here is always open, man. I mean, like if you really want to come here, we'll make it happen.
Thank you, boss.
I would love to have you here training for the Olympia. That would be fucking badass. Love it.
That's an offer you cannot refuse, James. So there it is on the table.
That's it.
There you go.
That is it.
Gonna happen.
Yeah, do it. Oh yeah.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, gentlemen.
We'll
God bless you all.
Can't see my mind's too dark.
Oh yeah. If anybody ever wants to get merchandise, go to MetroFlexGym.com, and we've got a link there for all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in getting your own MetroFlex Gym, there's also a link there for that. I believe it says, live the hardcore dream.
Maybe in like 5 years' time, me and you can speak to Brian about maybe another gym.
Yeah, we might be in
It was 5 years.
I think it's about time I got gyms.
It goes fast.
Yeah, we might have to have a chat. Might have a chat, Brian.
All right, gentlemen.
Thanks, man. Have a great rest of your day, sir.
You too.
Have a good weekend, Brian. Speak soon.